Hi, I'm Justin Boyd.
Hi, I'm George Luna.
I'm here to win this thing.
Damn, she took my she stole my thunder. Fuck.
I'm
I
Desmond.
was gonna say-
I'm Amber.
And we are the Watchers in the Basement.
Well, so Frank, Brittany stole your thunder, but did she steal your love and thunder? So that's the question.
Like what you did there, bro.
We're gonna find out. Welcome to the Watchers in the Basement, and welcome to the 2023 MCU movie draft. Now, you remember last year we did a character draft, and Desmond actually won that draft. So we're pleased to have the defending champ back. We'll see what happens this time. Prior to going on air, we already set the draft order. So let me just let you know for those at home. Here's the draft order. I'm picking first. Surprisingly, I got the first pick. It's me. Then it's Brittany. Then
The winner.
So it's me, Brittany, George, Amber, Desmond, and Frank. So that's the draft order. Yeah, really excited about this one. And Brittany, if you wouldn't mind, let's throw the rules up there for people. So here are the draft rules. There are 5 rounds in this draft. Each will select one movie per round. So we're going to be taking 30 of the 33 Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. So I'm interested to see which 3 movies don't get picked. I have some ideas. Each of us will have 1 minute per round to make a pick. And then the winner will be determined via a poll on social media. We'll also, after the show, we're going to post it in the description in this YouTube link below. We're also going to put it in the comments. And again, it'll be in the description of our Spotify post for audio listeners. And we're going to post it everywhere on social media. And we're going to let it run for like a month or so. So when we come back in January, we'll see who actually take home the draft crown. So
it's gonna be May.
So hey, before we start off, does anybody have any like opening thoughts that you want to get out there?
I mean, I'm excited that we're doing this. I know, Justin, you've been talking about this for a while. I'm excited that we have Desmond back, the reigning champ, for this whole draft. I'm very excited to also welcome Amber into our draft here. This is very exciting. Very exciting. And of course, we got the OGs. You know, we've got George, Frank, Justin, myself. You know, we're here. Let's see. I'm really interested to see what everyone's choices are going to be. I mean, with Justin having the first round pick, we already know what he's going to
first overall pick.
But yeah, so it's going to be really interesting to see what everyone chooses. And quick shout out to Yesenia here in the chat. She said, "Thank you for explaining what is going on. Not a sports gal. Don't worry, I'm not either."
Me either.
Well, I definitely am. So not a gal, but
really?
I'm a sports person.
Who knew?
So I guess with that, did anybody have anything else they want to say? Frank, you got any opening thoughts or?
No, I'm good.
No, you're good. You're like, okay, let's get this draft going with the first overall pick in the 2023 MCU movie draft. Me, Justin, the host of the show. You know, let's talk about it for a second. Brittany, throw up the graphic. God. Yeah, I'm gonna need a little bit of time because this is a tough call.
This is BS.
Yeah, like there's so many ways I can go, and honestly, like for all of us, for the first 3 or 4 rounds, we're all gonna have good picks. But because I got the first pick, I'm gonna take the best movie, and it's one of my favorite movies. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm taking the highest grossing movie in the MCU history. That is Avengers Endgame. I am selecting that little indie film with the #1 overall pick.
Of course.
Is anybody surprised by that at all?
Not surprised.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I thought you may go to Marvels, bro, because I know you're such a Brie Larson fan of her thespian like abilities as, you know.
It was a real tough call, honestly.
That musical scene, yo.
It was touch and go, honestly.
Jeez.
So, okay. Yeah, no surprise. I took the best movie.
Yeah.
It is.
Yesenia is supportive of this.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's honestly, it is one of my favorite movies. Released on April 26, 2019, with a runtime of 3 hours, 1 minute, it is the longest film in the MCU. As I said, it's also the most profitable at $2.7 billion made at the box office.
Good
Directed
grief.
by Anthony Joe Russo, and it was in phase 3 of the MCU. But now it's time for us to move on to the second pick in the draft. And that person selected now is Brittany.
Yes.
Brittany.
Yes.
It's your time.
It is my time. So, I'm going to put myself on the clock and kind of, talk myself through this. Endgame was such a banger of a movie, right? I mean, we cried, we saw it multiple times, we heard people's reactions, especially when Cap got the hammer. Brilliant choice. Good job, Justin. But, there's also another great movie, probably from that same phase, that I think can be chosen. Maybe not that phase, actually. Let me retract what I just said. Preceding that movie.
Okay.
And I think, well, I
You're
don't
running
know.
out of time.
I know, I'm almost there. Okay. All right. My pick is in.
What's the pick?
So Brittany, or give me the intro. Come on. We need to have the intro at least for the first round. Come on.
With
You
the
gotta do
second
this.
overall pick in the 2023 MCU movie draft, Brittany selects.
I'm gonna go with my ride or die. Civil War.
Oh wow,
Captain
That was-
America,
that was
Civil
surprising.
War.
Surprising.
Yeah. I
Sneaky pick.
what did y'all think I was gonna pick? I'm just curious.
One of the Avengers movies.
Yeah.
Infinity War. That
Yeah.
was my.
I
thought.
mean, it's basically an Avengers movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it
pretty
is.
much.
Yeah.
It pretty much is, but it's
right
Captain
about there.
America. Yeah. So no, there's something about Captain America: Civil War that, even though it's a Captain America centric movie, you get Winter Soldier, you get Spider-Man, the introduction of Spider-Man really into this whole world, which was really amazing. Black Panther, my God, like that was incredible to see that introduction as well. So I think for that movie, even though it's not an official Avengers movie, for me, it holds a very special place in my heart. I absolutely love Daniel Bruhl in this movie as well. And so overall, amazing movie. It's always ranked very high on my list. So yeah, that I had to grab before it went away. So
Great
very
pick.
happy with my pick.
Good job.
All
Okay,
right.
now we move to number 3. George is on the clock.
This is easy. I'm done.
Oh, we're not even doing it.
Well, share some thoughts. What were you thinking? Like after she
What do
took
y'all think? I'm
War-
gonna let y'all pick for me. What do y'all think it's? I'm
Bro,
gonna pick.
can I get some foreplay? God damn.
No,
My
No.
God.
I'm going right in.
Wow. Okay. The aggressive style of George here.
Yes.
Waste no time. George, what okay, so
I like it.
with the third overall pick in the MCU, the 2023 MCU movie draft, George selects.
Infinity War. I mean,
Of
this
course
was
it
already
is.
my number one pick. If I would have got number one, this would have been in it anyway. So, I mean, the way I felt after this movie, how it ended after the snap, like the emotions I felt, I was like shocked, and like I think that's like how a movie should end. I've never felt that in a movie where I've been like, "What the fuck? That was it? Like that's how you're gonna end this shit?"
Mhm.
And just Thanos fucking whooping the Avengers ass, beating everybody. I mean, it's hard not to pick this as number one for me. So yeah, this is my number one pick for me.
Good choice, George.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Good
I agree that it was my number. It would have been my number 2. Yeah. Also, the second highest grossing movie in MCU history. Brittany also took $1 billion film. So far, we're all 3 movies we've taken have made a ton of money as expected. Okay, let's move on to the 4th pick. Amber is on the clock. Amber, what are you thinking with your pick?
I already know.
Oh.
It's the first
Do
one
I?
on my list. I already
know?
want it. It's the first one I wanted. It's the only one that I really wanted. I want Ragnarok.
Okay.
I love Thor movies in general, and I love Ragnarok. So, because I mean, it was just, I feel like it was a completely different vibe from all of the other previous Thor movies, and it kind of just brought the same kind of energy that, Guardians and that phase really, it just changed. It was different than the others, but it still had the Thor that we loved and everything like that. So I'm really personally attached to Ragnarok, so I really wanted Ragnarok.
Great choice.
Thank you.
Yeah, very good choice. It really was kind of a game changer for the character, for Chris Hemsworth's version of Thor. The first two Thor movies, in my opinion, not very good. The third one really kind of changed the game. Kind of, he brought his humor to it with Taika Waititi directing, and yeah, that was a top 5 pick for me. So I think we're doing good so far. Okay, Desmond A. Again, the defending champion. She won the character draft last year. Desmond A., you're on the clock with the number 5 overall
Wait.
pick.
Do you need the clock?
I don't need the clock.
Okay, you
Here
don't
we
need
go.
the clock.
Not wasting any time.
Okay,
Yeah.
fancy shit. All right.
So the champ is here, ready to make my pick.
We'll talk
So-
to your speaker.
Hey!
So when I got the draft list, I looked at box office, Rotten Tomatoes, and this is without a doubt my favorite Marvel movie. It's one of the movies that made over $1 billion. It's the only movie that I probably watched at least 15 times, and that is Black Panther. It's just a classic. It has to be my number 1 pick.
I don't know.
Oh,
Frank is
Frank's
pissed right now.
upset. Look at Frank.
I
Look
know
at Frank.
Frank's pissed right now.
Yeah. And I think
Very
I
good pick.
believe out of all the Marvel movies, it has the highest rating on Rotten Tomatoes with 96%.
It does.
It
I
does, yeah.
I checked that as well.
Yeah.
So-
It's my
so
favorite. Hands
Very
down.
very sound
Yeah.
reasoning. Frank, how are you feeling? Honestly,
I'm just kind of upset at you, Justin, because and there's no rules, so I couldn't trade up. I couldn't trade my left kidney for the 7th pick, for the 5th pick. I had to sit there and watch her steal my movie.
Yeah.
It's cool, bro. It's cool.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's celebrate,
Also
Dad.
worth-
Celebrate.
Yes.
also worth noting, Black Panther is the first, and to my knowledge, the only superhero movie that's ever been nominated for the Academy Award.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
very good pick.
Incredible.
Certainly a top 5 to top 10 selection.
Yeah.
So Frank, you're going to wrap up the first round. You're on the clock with number 6. Talk me through what do you just lost out on Black Panther. What where are you going with the pick, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I had a plan B. I had a morning after plan B plan.
God,
I
Frank.
kind of figured that Dez was going to take Black Panther. Dez and I have spoke
Mhm.
on multiple occasions how much we love that movie. So, when the random generator pick happened, I got the last fucking pick of the draft, the first round. I kind of knew that movie was going to be off the board. But for me, I'm going to have to go with the original, man. Like the movie that started that started the Avengers.
Is the pick
initiative.
in? Is the pick in?
The pick is in.
Okay.
What's the pick?
And the pick is Avengers 1, the first one. So again, like the other movies that made $1 billion as well. There are a lot of iconic moments in this movie. The back and forth between Captain and Tony, the panning of the 6 heroes as they're about to fight the Chitauri. It's one of the most iconic moments in not just Marvel history, but superhero history. And this movie is so important to Marvel because going into this MCU in general, X-Men was the lead it team as far as Marvel is concerned, from the cartoons to the 20th Century Fox movies back in the early 2000s. And even as a child, I never thought there would be a movie, a team up movie that would rival that, including Justice League and DC. So for them to make this movie such a iconic movie in film lore and superhero lore, I gotta go with the original. And the end credit scene with Thanos, it was poor CGI at the time, but I get it. It was 13 years ago, but like seeing that and seeing what was to come, it was a great prelude to what was to come over the next 22 movies. So I gotta go with the first Avengers.
Yeah, great pick. The first Avengers grossed 1.5 billion. It was Marvel Studios' first billion-dollar film. So, directed by Joss Whedon. It was obviously in phase 1. 2 hours and 23 minutes is the runtime. Release date May 4th, 2012. So, great pick. And now that concludes the first round. Now we're going to the second round. I have the first pick in the second round. And honestly, not kidding. Like, I kind of have a dilemma because there's 2 movies I really want.
Ooh,
And I'm kind of wondering
you're on the clock.
if I think there's one I need to take now because I don't think it'll make it to the next round.
Oh, it's a pick in.
Yeah, I'm gonna just make it easy. This movie was the last.
Damn
movie,
you, Justin!
was the last movie to make $1 billion at the box office for Marvel. This is one of those movies where I'm always gonna remember where I was when I saw it because it gave us not 1, not 2, but 3 versions of Spider-Man.
Oh man.
In that movie,
Damn you!
Spider-Man No Way Home.
God
So-
damn it.
God damn. That was my
Right? That's exactly how I feel.
Well, sorry. I'm
Over
just gonna-
under on fucks in this draft. 5.5 is as over under.
No, it's gonna be more.
It's gonna be
It's
more.
gonna be
Okay.
Yeah,
All
it's
right,
gonna
cool.
be
We're
way
gonna
more.
be more.
It's gonna be more. Gotcha.
Yeah,
With
7th
Justin,
overall.
with the first round.
Hey, to me, this is a great value pick because my personal board, this is my number 3 movie. So for me to get this at number 7, like
God
I love
dang.
it. I think honestly, I should win this draft. So, but just there's a long way to go, but
That boy
I like what I've
drafting,
done so
boy.
far.
That cocky attitude won't though. Just saying.
It didn't work last year, so we'll see if it's any better this year. Okay, so Brittany, now you're on the clock. The 8th overall pick, the second pick of the second round. What are you thinking with your pick?
there's a few, and just kind of like you, I'm now skeptical about which one I should take because I don't know if it'll make it to the next round.
Yep.
I obviously have my personal favorites, of course. If y'all haven't checked out our watchers ranking then it was 30 MCU movies. Y'all got to go check that out. Had some feelings, I'm not always on the same with my fellow watchers here, but I think I'm going to kind of move kind of like how Frank did. And not going obviously with the first Avengers movie, but the first movie that took it all with
God
the
damn it.
MCU.
Damn it. This is the one.
What 3 fucks in, guys?
Yeah, I
just
got
keeping
to
track of that. Yeah. Thank
I
you.
gotta take it
Appreciate
with
it.
my pick for the second round, y'all, is Iron Man, the one that started it all. This was Robert Downey's major comeback. He killed it as Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. This is what set off the MCU to be the legendary franchise that it is. I gotta take it. Sorry, not sorry.
No, you said it perfectly. Without this movie, none of this stuff happens. And this
Yeah.
movie still holds up. It came out in 2008. That's 15 years ago. It was the first movie, so it didn't gross as much as later on movies, but it set the table for what the MCU became. So
Absolutely.
great pick, and that was definitely my next movie that I was going to take. Thank you, Brittany, for ruining
Welcome.
my plan to have all my favorite movies. Let's see what George is thinking. George, you're now your second pick.
I hate both of you.
George,
Love you, bro.
9th overall. Where are you going now?
I don't know. Like y'all literally took the 2 movies I was thinking of already.
Yeah.
But
a lot of good ones
since
on the
I
board,
can't
though.
go that way, I'm gonna go phase 2.
Okay.
Movie in phase 2, Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Motherfucker.
James Spader was an awesome villain. I love that dude. We got introduced to Wanda and her brother, and we get Vision. I mean, there's a lot that gets introduced here that plays a role later on in the MCU. So I think this is a big movie too. So that's my pick.
Agreed.
Frank, we talked about this earlier. So all the Avengers movies are off the board within the top 10.
Yeah, I'm shocked. I thought it would have been like in the top 7, top 6. I thought outside of Age of Ultron. So Yeah, I mean, it's going as I expected. Man, that first pick of the second round, man, that was a Spider Man, bro. That was a
God
quality
damn.
pick. You got first
Mhm.
round value in the second round, bro. I'm not even
Mhm.
lying.
I'm aware. Um,
He's so humbled by it too.
pretty good.
Jeez.
Pretty good at
Oh
this.
my goodness.
So Avengers: Age of Ultron, 1.4 billion. Like George said, it's phase 2. Came out May 1st, 2015. So yeah, one of the higher grossing movies of all time. So good job, George, taking that off the board. Let's go now. Amber, your second pick, the 10th overall. First of all, how do you think the draft is playing out so far? And then tell us where we're going to go with the 10th pick.
Well, I only have I had 8 on my list, like because I had some backups,
Yeah.
but I only have 3 left because they've all been
Oh
taken.
no.
So we're just gonna wing it from here. But I do think I'm sorry. Kitty cats are a hazard in this household. Um, I didn't think that they were going to go that fast before like the second round even finished. I didn't think that they were going to go that fast. So I thought I was actually like spacing it out decently,
Yeah.
but I was wrong. Um, but I do have my pick though, because I'm between 2, but I think I'm settled on which one I'm going to do next.
The pick is in. At number 10, who does Amber select?
I'm going to do the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh.
Good pick.
Sorry.
Good pick.
It introduces one of the other Infinity Stones. It's one that we hadn't seen until then, and it kind of it introduces the Guardians of the Galaxy, which they do play a big part in the Infinity War and Endgame, and it kicked off their entire series, so for their movies. So I wanted to snag them before anyone else went. Sorry.
Yeah. No,
call.
that's a great pick.
Not
I'm a little surprised, actually. I kind of felt maybe I knew who would have been your second round pick, but I'm a little surprised with Guardians. I'm not that it's a terrible choice or anything like that.
I want to know what you guess.
I'm not going to say anything because we're still playing.
I know.
Well,
I'll text
Guardians, so much like how Iron Man started this all, Guardians really was like proof of concept that the MCU could do anything, because these were characters that, I mean, I think probably only Frank on this show had heard of any of these characters before this movie. So it introduced millions of people to characters they'd never heard of.
Mhm.
And yeah, it killed it. I think it's one of the higher rated movies on Rotten Tomatoes also. And
you.
it's a classic movie. It's what new Star Wars films wish they could be, is what Guardians of the Galaxy is.
Star Wars
James
catching
Gunn.
a slug, catching a stray. God damn, Star
Deservedly
Wars.
so. Yeah. If I had a lightsaber, I'd chop off everyone's hand. Not in the room, but it with Star Wars. All those people deserve to lose.
I would make
maybe not a hand,
toast.
but
I don't know
a
what you're
digit.
talking about.
Yeah. So
I would just
Great
make
pick,
toast.
Amber.
I would just slice bread and make toast.
So
Okay.
Desmond A, we're to your second pick now. Number 11 overall. How's the draft
Hands
going
off my
for you so
fucking movie,
far?
Daz. Keep your hands off my fucking movie.
This is more harder than the first draft we did because
Yeah.
all of my favorite movies are getting picked so quickly. So this is difficult. So my next movie is one of the Spider-Man movies, and I'm choosing this one because it was the first movie right after the blip. When half the population came back.
Damn.
So it was very interesting, the characters navigating their way after being disappeared for, 5 years or so. And this introduced Jake Gyllenhaal as a villain. And, Spider-Man's true identity was revealed. So a lot of stuff happened in this movie. And I enjoyed it a lot. So my pick is Spider-Man Far From Home.
Great choice.
Very good pick.
Yeah.
It's the first Spider-Man movie to gross over $1 billion, which kind of surprising that, but like now Spider-Man routinely makes $1 billion. Hopefully that continues in the future.
Mhm.
It's also the final movie of Phase 3, like Desmond said, is the first movie after Endgame, which
Yeah.
it really kind of it
Mhm.
was kind of a tribute to Tony Stark, who we
Mhm.
lost in we lost Iron Man in Endgame. So
Mhm.
very well, I like the movie a lot. I know a
Yeah.
lot of people kind of regard it as the third best of the 3 Spider-Man films, but
Yeah.
I think all 3 are very solid. So that's a
Yeah.
very good pick. And like once again, you took a movie that made a lot of money. So very, very good thinking for trying to get the people on your side. Hold on, let me make one change. So Frank, we're back to you. Number 12 overall. What are how's it going for you?
I mean, unfortunately, it's not a snake draft where I don't come to the top of the round, the following round, and
Right.
get my pick. But hey, you got to do what's you got to play with the cards that's dealt. So
There you go.
I'm gonna keep it OG. I'm gonna go back to phase two. Um, you know, this movie here, man, it introduces one of my favorite fighting hand to hand combat
I know
Damn
what you're
it.
gonna pick. I know what you're picking.
villains slash anti heroes, man, and this Serbian man was he's a G. Uh,
God damn you.
my pick is in. My pick is in.
Frank, with the 12th overall pick, who do you select, Frank?
I'm gonna go Capitan America, Winter Soldier,
The winners?
as
Mhm.
my
Good
second
choice.
pick of the second round. I mean, look, man, like I love Captain America. Justin and I have talked about the first one. First one was cool, man, but the second one, man, they just ratcheted up with the action,
Mhm.
hand to hand combat. Winter Soldier, dude, he plays that role the way that I read it in the comics. Like,
Mhm.
lethal, quick, assassin like very, no nonsense, man. And like again, one of the most I'm very big on iconic moments. And one of the most iconic moments in that movie is when Captain throws his shield and old buddy catches it with one hand with his metal
Yeah.
arm. And like it even blew him away. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And like and to get that confirmation that Bucky is alive and that's Bucky this whole time,
Mhm.
that flips so much on his ear going to future Marvel projects like Falcon and Winter Soldier and a lot of other movies before that and Civil War as well. So yeah, Captain America Winter Soldier for me, man. I love it. I love the synergy. I love the introduction of Falcon in that movie as well. Um, Another thing that's not talked about too, you get Easter eggs of Moon Knight in that movie as well.
Mhm.
They talk about the what happened in Egypt, in that. So there's a lot of little Easter eggs in there
Yeah.
that goes on years later become major motion pictures or smaller screen pictures for Disney Plus. So yeah, that's my pick for second round.
Yeah, great pick. And talk about iconic scenes. One of the most iconic scenes in the MCU is the elevator fight scene where
Yes.
Captain America, before beating up like 15 guys, asks like, before we get started, does anyone want to get off? And that's a great scene.
Yeah.
One of my favorites. Also, like one of the higher regarded movies in the MCU. I think people who don't even like these movies go, "That's a good one," because you have
Mhm.
it's kind of a spy thriller mix, thrown in with superhero and yeah, very very good pick, Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
That would have been the movie I picked next.
Yeah.
So
Me too.
Yeah. So hate you, Frank.
so that concludes round 2 of the draft. Now we're heading to round 3. I have the next pick, 13th overall. And Brittany, I'm gonna need to put me on the clock. So I'm gonna need a little bit of time here. I'm gonna have to look over my list. I think I know where I'm going because I have my list on a letterbox.
Mm.
Yeah, this
Well,
one's not too difficult for me. Um, Frank took the second movie in the Captain America franchise. Brittany, you took the third one. I'm taking the first one, Captain America, the first Avenger, 13th overall.
Five
This
bucks
movie,
in.
this movie.
Sorry.
This movie did not make a ton of money compared to the other movies. It
Mhm.
was in phase 1, it made 370 million. directed by Joe Johnston, who did The Rocketeer. I don't know if y'all remember that movie from the 90s. He also like worked on the Star Wars films. I love this movie. I think it's like the best origin story. I mean, outside of Iron Man, it's the best origin story in the MCU. I think actually it's a better origin story or on the same level. I really like Iron Man also, but no, this is one of my favorites. This is one of the movies I think is one of the most rewatchable for me. It's only like 2 hours long, so it's very easy to kind of fly through it, and so many like great scenes in this movie. So I am very happy with taking this movie off the board at number 13, the first pick of the third round.
You know, and it's one of those movies too, man. You appreciate over time. Like at the time when it came out, there was so many. Yeah, it gets better, and like there was so much, vitriol towards the CGI and Chris Evans and the big head, the skinny body. Like, I mean, look, Steve Rogers is 5'3", 125 pounds. Like what do you expect? Like they wanted to keep it as realistic within the CGI realm as possible, but I think over time, as you unveil more of Captain America's story throughout in the MCU, it's a cult classic now, and I think I spoke to you about it a couple years ago, Justin. Like that, I appreciate it now. I watched it the third time around a couple years ago, and I'm like, man, this is a really good movie. So,
yeah, I agree. Does anyone else want to tell me how great of a pick I made?
Moving on.
We're moving on. Okay.
Moving on.
I had to ask. I wanted to give you a chance, just like how Captain America said. Does anyone want to get off?
You can do this all day. You can do this all day.
Go. Do this all day. I really can. This is pretty much my life. Brittany, you're now up. Your third pick, the second pick of the third round, 14th overall. What are you thinking here?
Well, I'm thinking that I really appreciate Yesenia here in the chat. I think she's been kind of guessing what we'd all be picking.
Yep.
And also Desmond A, she says she likes your shirt. She also has one.
Thank you. It's an original.
Yep. Both of y'all have original Watchers in the Basement shirt.
Limited edition. Merch. We had some merch. Yeah.
We
had new merch, y'all.
Sponsor us.
We need new merch.
That being said, I'm going to put myself on the clock. So, okay, great picks from everyone. The first two rounds. Obviously, lots of F-bombs have been dropped by me. You're welcome. I'm probably going to deviate a little bit from some of the OG stuff, just because, like, I know everyone's going to go for them, what have you. I think some of the sequels to certain movies may not be just as good as like the first of the movies, but I'm actually going to choose a sequel of a movie. And I'm going to give y'all a hint with what I'm wearing.
I didn't see
what shirt I'm wearing. So can
you
get a hint of what I'm wearing. So I'm going to stop the clock. I'm going to remove myself.
That shit.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
I know.
I actually like this movie. I like the movie too.
I know. I do too. I very much love this movie, and this is one where I said, Amber, I was a little surprised that maybe you didn't choose Doctor Strange, either Doctor Strange or Doctor Strange in Multiverse Madness. I think we lost George. My God.
Did we lose him?
I think we lost George.
Well, we all know how big of a fan George and Frank are of Multiverse of Madness, and that's the one you took, correct, Brittany?
That is correct.
Yeah, you took Multiverse of Madness. Yeah.
Thank God.
Whatever. That movie was great. I don't care what anyone
it was going to be my next pick, so it's a good pick.
George, are you
was
sure
on my next pick.
Yeah.
It was my next pick. You took it.
So what I will say about this movie, very much like how we did the MCU character draft last year, was like I was looking for power, right? Wanda Maximoff is arguably the most powerful being in the MCU. I think Doctor Strange is a hot second behind her. So to combine those two characters into one movie where you're playing with the mystical arts and stuff like that, witchcraft, whatever, I thought it was a great movie. I love the introduction of America Chavez. I love seeing the different variants of Doctor Strange. I thought that was really cool. I just overall love Benedict Cumberbatch as an actor. So that movie for me was very cool. Also getting to see Charles Xavier. Yeah. From X-Men. That was super cool for me. Super nostalgic. So I think this movie doesn't get enough credit that it should actually
I
get.
agree.
So yeah, this is my third round pick.
George, what are your thoughts on this movie before we move on?
Oh, it's all right. I'm just glad it wasn't. I'm glad I got. Brittany didn't pick the movie I wanted. So
You're definitely like, it is a movie.
Right.
when she said sequel, I was like, fuck.
I remember
So-
seeing it in the movie theaters and like the crowd erupting when they showed, Peggy Carter as the Captain
Oh, I
America
know.
actor
Right.
and
Yeah.
Captain Rambo as Captain Marvel. Like everyone just went crazy. So it was definitely like a moment that's cemented in my mind. It was a great movie.
It very much was.
Yeah.
I think I have an inkling on George's sequel, so I have an idea what it may
Before we
be.
get to that, I want just to put a button on Multiverse of Madness. A lot of people don't like this movie, or at least it's not well regarded. The movie did make a lot of money, though. The movie made $955 million.
Yeah.
It's directed by Sam.
Bitches saw it. It's like a billion of them.
Yeah.
Of course, it's gonna make
You're
money.
welcome. Okay.
It also followed Spider-Man: No Way Home, which was one of my picks. But
Yeah.
it was directed by Sam Raimi, who obviously has big Spider-Man ties. He directed the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man trilogy for Sony. So it was in Phase 4, came out May 6th, 2022. I'm on the record. I like this movie quite a bit. It also gave us the cameo of John Krasinski as Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Spoiled. Yeah, the
R.I.P.
internet spoiled that. Yeah. So anyway, we're moving on. We're now to the 15th overall pick. George, we're to your third pick.
Yeah.
Looking at the board, movies are coming off the board pretty fast.
Yeah, very.
We're almost halfway through. George, what are you thinking?
I already said I was picking a sequel.
Right.
Can y'all guess which one?
Yes.
Which one?
Oh God.
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Amber, do you have a guess?
Oh my.
Nope.
It's not
Desmond,
Black
no idea.
Panther.
Desmond, you want to offer a
Is
guess?
it Black Panther 2? Wakanda
Yeah.
Forever?
Mm-mm.
I think I know what it is.
Justin?
I think it's Guardians Volume 3.
No.
No? Okay.
Wow. He's gonna go with the Marvels.
No. Oh God, no. No. I'm going with Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2.
Okay.
Don Cheadle
That's solid.
introduced. War Machine introduced. It was
Solid.
a great movie to me. I really like that movie.
Okay.
Did you like Mickey Rourke saying, "I want my bird"?
Yes. I want my belt.
Want my bird. Yeah. Whiplash was cool. I
Yeah.
mean, that movie is maybe not as well regarded in
Underrated.
terms of it. It's underrated. It's another one I'll sit there and rewatch. I definitely will rewatch that over Iron Man 3 personally.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's a good choice. I like it.
Yeah, it introduced us to Black Widow. ScarJo
Mhm.
joined the MCU.
Yes,
in
it
that
did.
movie. Yeah,
Mhm.
that was
Yes,
a great
it did.
addition.
Yeah.
It's a fun movie. I think it also introduced us to Justin Hammer,
It did.
right?
Yes.
Yep.
It did. Sam
Oh.
Rockwell as Justin Hammer.
Yep.
Wouldn't be mad if he made a comeback in some fashion. I don't see how, but
Weren't they supposed to release a show? The
I'm not sure.
were they?
like the something
Armor Wars?
Armor Wars or some shit like that.
That's actually now going to be a movie, but they don't have a date on the docket anymore for that movie. So who knows if it's even still going to happen? But you're right. I think he was going to play a role in that, that film. Yeah, or that it was originally a series. You're right about
Show,
that too.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, George, going back to Phase 1, Iron Man 2 was the third movie ever from the MCU. So, very interesting choice.
Oh,
Yeah, good choice.
Yeah. So now we're going to the 16th overall.
I'm just picking movies I like.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean that
That's
can
kind of
work.
the idea.
Yeah, just whatever you like. I mean, it's a fine movie. I mean,
Mhm.
again, I said before, like the first 3 rounds or so, we're all getting very entertaining movies. So let's keep it moving. Number 16 overall, Amber. It's your third pick. Talk about like kind of your thoughts on what's left on the board and
Are all your choices gone at this point?
question.
No, actually. I still have some. I still have two, but I have one of them. I'm going to do it now. I was going to wait but since the other ones in its series were taken, I feel like I have to do it now. I'm gonna do Spider-Man: Homecoming because it brings it introduces Spider-Man into Marvel. It's, you know, not away from Sony. It was a kind of its own thing before. They had tried it twice already, and I think with Spider-Man, it's like everybody kind of know, since it's done so many times, we know the origin story. But I think that they did a good job at still making it refreshing enough while still being familiar, where people who are fans of Spider-Man will enjoy it, while people who like are brand new or only strictly into Marvel, it's a good introduction for him. And also, he's just a sweetie pie, so we just gotta have him. So that is my third choice: is Homecoming, Spider-Man Homecoming.
Great pick. As you said, it's Peter Parker's first solo film in the MCU. And do y'all know the meaning of the title, Spider-Man Homecoming? Does anybody know what that actually? It's kind of like yes, it's about high school, but does anybody kind of know what that's kind of pointing to or nodding to?
Coming to like Marvel,
returning to Marvel.
Yeah, return to Marvel. Yeah, which that sounds easy, but I didn't know that until I read this recent book. Yeah, MCU, The Reign of Marvel Studios, chock full of fun little tidbits and great backstories. And spoiler alert, we're going to be talking about that next week. I've got some casting what ifs that are pretty fun from that book. But yeah, great pick by Amber. That's definitely high on my list. All three of the Spider-Man movies are great. Really, all the Spider-Man movies, period, are pretty good. So, so good job. So now we're moving on to the number 17 overall pick. Desmond A, it's your third selection.
Oh, this is a hard one.
We're starting to thin out here. So what are you thinking?
Because there's one movie left that grossed over $1 billion. But I thought this movie was so ass, so I don't want to pick it.
We all know what that movie is.
Yeah. And there was a movie that I did enjoy, even though it was incredibly sad. But it was necessary for the trajectory of the Marvel universe. So I think I'm just going to have to go with that. Oof. And that is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. It's going to be my next pick.
Very good pick.
Yeah.
Black Panther.
Cool. Sorry.
Yeah.
Brittany had to. She was waiting.
I'm waiting to say that.
To the character that's going to replace Tony Stark. So that was important. And I mean, I thought it was beautifully made. Like, I thought the cinematography was beautiful. It was just so sad. Like, I haven't watched it again because, I just want to be depressed when I watch it. But I can't say it was a bad movie. Yeah. So that's my pick.
No, then you get the villain. I still say he's a villain, regardless of people will say that Namor was an anti-hero. I'm like, no, he was straight up villain. He wanted to kill that little girl.
Sexy, okay, so it's all right.
Listen, mi gente finally represent. That's fine. That's what's up. So I was cool. I was cool with that for sure. And the music, Yesenia makes a good point. She listens to the soundtrack. The music for both the Black Panthers are incredible.
Yeah,
especially with the Dora Milaje, like they're kind of their intro music. It just sounds so cool, and it gets you hype.
It does get you hype. But every time I watch it, I just think of Chadwick, and it's just like, it's just so emotional for me. So
yeah. Angela Bassett was robbed.
Yeah, she was
robbed.
Definitely.
Yeah, she was nominated for an Academy Award the first time that's happened in the MCU for her performance. And you'll mention the music. Ludwig Göransson is the composer. He actually won a grant or an Academy Award for his music in the first movie, not for the second one. But no, it's a great it's a great entry. To me, it's one of those movies where, because of Chadwick Boseman's death, it's kind of a strange film. The movie was not what it was originally going to be because of that. Frank, I know you're pretty high in that movie when it came out last November. What are your thoughts on Black Panther: Wakanda Forever?
I mean, I love it. It's one of those like this. I've seen it 3 times, and tears me up to this day, man. It's
Mhm.
it's one of those things where it's so much happened in that
Yeah.
film, and
Mhm.
it's with everything happened with Chadwick and
Mhm.
the movement of that series, and like I mean, I love the empowerment of the women in the series.
Yeah, definitely.
Black Panther one fortified
Mhm.
the strength of women and like getting rid of that damsel of distress
Mhm.
moniker of women in superhero movies, and they
Mhm.
came back and fortified it again. Even and they reaffirmed the strength of women in this series, and I mean it's not talked about a lot, man, but
Mhm.
she did a great job playing Black Panther. She did, and I
Mhm.
and
She
I
did.
I love I love the I love the nuggets of like
Mhm.
T'Challa will be in this universe. I mean,
Yeah.
and I mean Ryan Coogler, man,
Mhm.
if his star's not already in the Hall of Fame,
Yeah.
it needs to be in Hollywood. Like
Mhm.
he's 5 for 5 in movies right now,
Yeah.
and he got thrown
Yeah, he
an
did. Yeah.
impossible curveball, and like this, and what pissed me off about the world in general is that people were upset about what happened and like how this movie transpired. I'm like, what do you expect the man to do? Like this,
Yeah.
he was given an
Yeah.
impossible situation, but I mean, that's
I think
that's
the
my
script.
pick.
Yeah, the script was rewritten like 4 times.
Yeah.
So it was for various reasons. Obviously, the main
Mhm.
one being Chadwick Boseman's death. But
Mhm.
yeah, Wakanda Forever was a Phase 4 film. Again,
Mhm.
Ryan Coogler directed it. It made a lot of money, 859 million,
Yeah.
and that it didn't get a China release until like almost a year later.
Yeah.
So uh, one of the longer movies though, 2 hours and 41 minutes. And I
Yeah.
remember when I saw it in the theater, I was like, this is kind of too long, but it had a lot of characters, so it was kind of a to me it's a little bit overstuffed, but definitely I figured it would go like in the top half of the draft. So
Yeah.
it
Mhm.
makes sense where it landed.
Mhm.
Frank, we're now back to you. You're the final pick of the third round, 18th overall. What are you looking at?
Yeah, man. I mean, at this point in the draft, we're getting down to the bare bones, right? Like all the
Yeah,
cult classics that we just
we
love
really are. Yeah.
have been picked at this point. So, like George said, I'm just going with movies I just love. Like I don't really have an
Mhm.
explanation why I love it. I just
Okay.
love it, and I think COVID was a very, very tough time for not just people in general, but just the movie industry. It was very, very tough, and a movie was released during this time where movie theaters was not a place to go watch movies, and man, one of my favorite characters in the MCU, uh, Yelena Belova, is like one of my. She became a cult classic, and she's the reason why I love this movie so much. And I got to go with Black Widow. I didn't think I would love this movie as much as I did. My only tip with this movie is I wish it came out before, um, like during Civil War, right before Civil War, or after Civil War. I thought the placement of the movie was kind of weird, but dude, the action's legit. Like, man, Taskmaster, the fighting scenes, her being able to emulate all the Avengers fighting styles. I mean, it's a dope movie as far as fighting scenes. I mean, I know it's not beloved, but like as
Mhm.
a send off for her character, I thought it was a good movie.
I'm actually a little surprised by that pick.
I am too. I thought you were going with some other movie from
I
that
did
same
too.
phase. Yeah.
Yeah, I did too. But for many reasons, I mean, ScarJo as Black Widow has been phenomenal in her role. But with that introduction of Yelena Belova was on a different level, and she's someone that I think we've all come to really appreciate and love, and just that sisterly bond she had with Natasha was great. Especially whole why do you flip your hair? Just it had really cute moments like that in the movie. But yeah, that movie being pushed back as frequent as it was, I think that was the reason for the poor reception. Um,
Well,
I agree with you. I think it should have definitely come out either in a different place, in an earlier phase, but it is what it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
just a little backstory on the film. It was actually supposed to come out a long time ago. Kevin Feige and some of the people within Marvel were fighting to put out the movie for years, but the actual people who owned the company didn't think that a female movie would make money or sell toys, and so action figures. So that's why it got kind of
But you had Captain
pushed
Marvel.
back. Well, yeah, I mean that, but that was I mean it was going to come out before Captain Marvel.
Yeah. Oh,
Black
yeah.
Widow had been in the works for a long time, but it never got the green light. So I also want to point out, Frank, you mentioned about, during the pandemic times. This is actually a movie I didn't see in the theater. It was actually released day and date. It was in the theater, but also it was on Disney Plus. It was like $30 to watch it. It's like pay-per-view style, and I got it. And that first day, and I liked it. I watched the movie like 2 or 3 times that first weekend, and I enjoyed it. It's a good film.
I kept saying to myself watching the movie, and this is how I know I'm biased to this movie. I kept saying to myself, every time Florence Pugh was on the screen, I kept saying to myself, I hope she's in an Avengers movie. I gotta see this personality because her and ScarJo are two different characters. Like like she's over here, like ScarJo's very serious, very she has one lines every once in a while, but like Pew is just like with the zingers, the fighting style, the sardonic attitude. Like I love it. I can't wait to see her interact with other like Avengers coming up in these future movies. So
Well, she was in Hawkeye. She interacted with Kate Bishop quite a bit. It was some good stuff
yeah.
in that series. So, George, you have any thoughts on Black Widow before we move on?
That's a movie I definitely saw at home. I didn't go to the theaters to watch, and I mean, I was fine watching it at home. It would not make my list. I would not pick this movie. So
Wow.
I'm surprised Frank picked it.
Strong
Ouch.
words.
Ouch.
Amber, any thoughts on Black Widow?
I saw it afterwards anyway too. Like I didn't even see it until just a while ago. Like I liked it, and I did like the I guess the sisterly zingers because I have 2 sisters, so I kind of get it. But it wasn't on my list. But yeah.
Listen, Frank
Oh.
just likes her in the jumpsuit. Okay, we all do. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
I know
No,
that's
no,
the
no.
only reason he picked it.
No, that ain't the only reason I picked it. She's in jumpsuits and a bunch of other movies I don't like, and trust me, it's the action is just dope, and like
Sure, Frank.
Taskmaster is a character that's hard to replicate on TV on the big screen. So to make her a woman I thought was daring, and I thought it transitioned well for her for the character. So I mean, it was a daring move, but I thought it hit. So yeah, I love that movie.
Also, the fact that we finally found out what happened in Budapest, like finally.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. Can we all remember that? Sure. Yeah, we remember it very well.
So well.
No, like I said, I like the movie quite a bit. So that wraps up round 3. We're moving on to round 4. I'm back on the clock, 19th overall. And Brittany, if you want to go ahead and put me on the clock, here we go. So before we did this draft, I was wondering, would anybody take a film from Phase 5, right? Because I knew Phase 3 would be
damn you.
popular. Phase 3, 7 films have been drafted out of our first 18 picks for Phase 3. So I knew Phase 3 was going to be popular. But I wondered, like, would anybody have the gumption to draft a movie from Phase 5? And you know what? I'm going to do it. Because, like, I was born brave. So I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to draft.
Justin chooses the Marvels.
Honestly, one of the best
I
one of the
wish.
best superhero movies of the year. No, I'm not going the Marvels. I'm going with a James Gunn's final film with the MCU, at least for
God
now,
damn
because he's
you.
taken over DC. I'm going with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3
Damn it.
for the
my
19th
next one.
overall.
That was,
This
that was my next one.
yeah,
Yeah, mine too.
this is a very sad movie. I've only watched it one time. I know it's on Disney Plus now. I will watch it again. I did enjoy it. I thought it was very well done. And
Yeah, it was. I agree.
it was very emotional.
Mhm.
I think the trailer for this movie is like one of the better MCU trailers. And the MCU's had some great trailers, but this trailer, especially with the music selection that James Gunn is just so, these needle drops that he's so good at. And it's a lot of times it's songs that I'm not even familiar with, but like they're like really well placed. So because a lot of them are like 70s songs, and like the 70s is like not in my wheelhouse, but I definitely enjoyed this movie quite a bit. Brittany is an animal lover. Obviously, you have a adorable corgi dog, Luna. What'd you think? Well, thinking back to when you saw this movie in the theaters, which it came out this past May, what were your thoughts on the way animals are treated in this film.
Man, I tell Luna this every day. I kill a motherfucker for her because, I mean, I just would. I know George feels the same about Wooly. Amber feels the same way about her 2 cats. Frank feels the same way about his dog. Desmond, I don't know if you have any animals, but I would imagine.
But when I had cats, I would kill for them too.
There you go. So we all have experienced the love of an animal, right? You know, they're here with us for a short amount of time, and so to me, I just can't fathom anyone being so evil to torture animals. And then in this movie, that Rocket has friends. He has friends that he's just suppressed and doesn't want to deal with it and what have you, and he's forced to go through all of this all over again. It's really sad. It was a tough watch for sure in the theaters. Like I shed a couple of tears, but this was one of the better telling stories of Guardians. Like Guardians, y'all know, is not my favorite by any stretch of the imagination. I think the holiday special is probably my favorite, but this movie was actually really well done. And not to mention the fact that it's the first MCU movie to drop the F-bomb.
There you go.
Yeah, Yesenia in the chat. Yes, we are all John Wicks underneath. That's exactly right.
Yes.
There we go. The finality of this movie being James Gunn's final MCU movie ever. The thought that it was going to be the finality for some characters, that was also a big draw for me. And the movie did really well. It's the highest grossing superhero movie of the year. Superhero movies have taken a beating this year, but not Guardians Volume 3. That movie made $845 million. It's the 5th highest grossing movie of the year so far. It's a longer movie though, 2 hours, 30 minutes. And again, it was a Phase 5 film because I'm not afraid. So remember that when you're voting, that I'm not afraid. Moving on to the second pick in the 4th round. Brittany, you're back on the clock. Number 20 overall. And we're really getting down to it now. Like there's 33 movies overall to pick from. We're whittling it down to like we're down to the few and the far between. What are you thinking?
So I was not going to be afraid and choose from Phase 5. I'm actually a little torn right now because there's something from Phase 5 and it's in Phase 2. They're one and the same character. It's a sequel. Well, I guess you could say, yeah, sequel. Various reasons why I'm kind of leaning more towards Phase 5 choice, just because of a character that we got there that I think had so much promise, and now things are kind of shifted. But I'm gonna give my pick is in. I'm gonna go ahead and select.
Go for it.
So as much as I really did enjoy Quantumania just solely for Kang, I there's a part of me that can't pick it just because I don't think we're going to get anything more from the Kang character, which really hurts me because I think Jonathan Majors just killed it as the character. But I really, out of this whole franchise, I really love Paul Rudd, and more importantly, Michael Pena. I think he was done wrong by not being in the third movies. So I'm going to choose Ant-Man from Phase 2, just good old regular Ant-Man. I think the original Ant-Man. For me, kind of like Guardians, not my favorite personally, but out of the trilogy that we have, it's my favorite movie out of the whole trilogy. I don't particularly care for the second one, but Michael Pena just helps makes this movie so great with his storytelling, and the very fact that Paul Rudd just really puts himself into the role. And also little Cassie. I think Cassie as a little girl is so adorable. I remember seeing the movie and Frank was like, was it this movie or was it, I think it was the second one that he's like, oh, I want a daughter because she's like, you're the world's greatest grandma. It's so cute. I think their whole dynamic is really, really sweet. But I didn't hate the villain in the first one. So yeah, it's another rewatchable kind of. It's not top of my list, but I'll rewatch it if it's on TV.
Yeah, with the Ant-Man movies, I think they're all on this kind of same level. I like them all about
I
the
agree.
same.
Yeah.
It's just kind of
Well,
whatever mood I'm in.
actually,
But
not the second one at all. No, I don't think that movie carries at all.
okay, well, I enjoyed that one in the theaters. So we several of us saw it together. We had a good time watching that
Yeah,
movie.
we did.
So yeah, no, it's a good pick. And here's another nugget from that book I was reading about the MCU. Originally, whenever the MCU started, the first three movies were going to be Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, and Ant-Man. Ant-Man, of course, was not the third movie that came out, but it was the one that was in the works for a long time. So,
Yeah.
anybody else have any Ant-Man thoughts? George, you got any hot takes on Ant-Man?
No hot takes. Yeah, I'm kind of torn for this next one. I was just thinking.
Okay. I'll give you
No
a little bit more
short
time.
jokes. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Desmond A., what are your thoughts on the first Ant-Man movie?
Yeah, that was gonna be my next pick. I did
Oh,
enjoy
wow.
the first Ant-Man. I feel like Ant-Man is very underrated, as far as a character, as far as an Avenger. I do enjoy the Ant-Man movies. I know I'm a minority in that, so I agree with Brittany's pick.
Yeah, you got to look out for the little guy. So
Yeah.
Hey,
that's the thing. Amber, have you seen the Ant-Man movies, or what are your
Oh
thoughts?
yeah, I have. I have seen them, but they're not really top of my list, but I like them. I don't really have like a problem against them, and like Desmond, I said, it's that he is underrated
Mhm.
as an Avenger. Like nobody cares about him really,
Mhm.
and some people forget about him entirely.
Yeah.
And I know people who just completely skip all of his movies, so all the Ant-Man movies. So it's a good choice. It's not my personal favorite, but I do enjoy them. I'll watch them.
Very watchable movies.
Mhm.
And in the chat, Yesenia, you talk about how I'm always talking about that book. It's a great book, honestly. Like I love that book. Again, next week I'm gonna talk a lot more about that book. But yeah, I love it. It's very, very. I'm not a big reader, but I flew through this book. It's like 500 something
Sorry.
pages. So yeah, yes, Brittany, make fun of me. Please make fun of me.
I shall.
I thought you hated this book. I had no idea.
Reading is fundamental. Okay, emphasis on the fun.
It is.
And
Let's
speaking of
move
that,
on to
let's get back to
George's.
fun, right? Let's get back to fun with the 21st overall pick, the third pick of the fourth round. George is back on the clock. George, where are you going? What are you thinking?
I don't know. I'm in a pickle.
Yeah.
I'm honestly, I'm getting kind of stuck here because I don't know if I should go towards the newer movies or go back to the old ones, or something in between.
Yeah, this is right around where I thought it was going to get tough.
God, this sucks because
I mean, are you gonna choose like something you like, or just something that you think
no,
will
I'm
help you
choosing
kind of
something I
gain?
like. No,
Okay.
something I like. I mean, Thor's still on there. It's Chris Hemsworth. I mean, original Avenger. Kind of get a glimpse into that. Like that one's, I don't know. Then I have Guardians 2, which I really like that movie too.
15 seconds.
Oh shit.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
Okay.
5,
All right. I'm
4.
ready.
The pick
All
is
right.
in. George with the
4 seconds left.
21st. George's being dramatic for us. 21st overall pick, George. Which movie are you taking?
I'm gonna go with Guardians 2 because I enjoyed that movie. Amber took the original one, so I'll go with the sequel here. Quill gets to meet his dad. Get to learn a little bit more about Celestials. I don't know. It was just a funny movie. I always like the banter back and forth between all them. They're all funny movies. They're definitely rewatchable for me. So that's what I'm going for here. I'm just picking movies that I actually watch again.
Yeah, no, it's a good pick, especially with what's left on the board. I mean, that was going to be my next one. I do believe so.
Yeah.
So good call on that, Frank. Yeah, Frank, what do you think about Guardians Volume 2 in relation to the other Guardians films?
It was actually it's actually my second favorite Guardians movie. Guardians 3, 2, 1. I love the Guardian films. I think Peter Quill and Rocket make that movie. I mean, make that series. I mean, it's funny. I mean, there are some major MCU storylines that go through there that play a major part in Endgame and Infinity War as well. Shit, the Quill Thor back and forth is funny as fuck to me. It's just it's not a not so serious funny series. And I mean, Dave Bautista, man, he's just Dave Bautista. I mean, it's a great cast, I think. And for for heroes that are not heralded in the Marvel comic books to make so much money and make the impact that they did in the MCU, I thought was monumental. Like
Yeah.
pound for pound, like for what
Oh yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah. For little known characters, like all three movies did very well.
yeah.
And no coincidence that's James Gunn at work. Raheem has a question about James Gunn. Brittany, if you'll show us that real quick. He says, what do y'all think will happen now since James Gunn went to DC? And are the Marvel movies on the same level as before? What do you think about the future of the MCU and DC? Does anybody want to take that?
Answer his last question first. I'm very concerned with the future of DC of Marvel. I don't know when you lose a Chadwick, when you lose a Robert Downey, potentially Hemsworth, Chris Evans. That's a lot of star power, and you got it. There's a lot of development you're gonna have to do. I mean, the first Avengers was a hit, and we don't even know who's gonna be in the next Avengers team. And I think the dilution of all these Marvel TV shows and subpar Marvel movies is creating a lot of doubt, and I'm very concerned. I don't know uh, what's going to happen for the future. I don't know if they're going to make 1.5, 1.8, 2.2 billion like it did before, unless there's a major overhaul of story writing with these characters. So we'll see. As far as DC, I don't have much faith in DC, but Gunn is one of the highlights that I do like. The second Suicide, is it the Suicide Squad?
The
The second
Suicide
one?
Squad, yeah.
Yeah, that was it was good. It was a funny movie. It was good. Peacemaker, another Gunn produced show. I have hope for him. We shall see with this new overhaul. But if he's over it, I mean, he can't do worse than the previous regime. I mean, so
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. I'm not too confident, but he is the glimmer of hope, I guess, if when it comes to DC.
Yeah, I have high hopes for the Superman Legacy movie that he is writing and directing. It's supposed to come out July of 2025. Um, Superman's my all-time favorite superhero character, so I'm looking forward to that kind of no matter what. But James Gunn hasn't missed yet. Like Frank said, Peacemaker's great. All three Guardians movies are very good to great, and I liked I like the Suicide Squad also, and hell, even that Brightburn movie, which he was like
Oh,
had
I
like
love
a producer
Brightburn.
role on. Brightburn was
Yeah.
very entertaining. Speaking of like a Superman kind of analog story, so yeah. Does anybody else have any thoughts on James Gunn leaving or going to DC?
Not really, but I just like to point out something Yesenia here wrote in the chat. This is a rebuilding phase for MCU, so looking for the actor to rebuild with someone unknown, hopefully. So she feels that the future looks promising. So I mean, at this point, I think it's a 50-50 chance.
Yeah.
Much to what Frank was saying. Either it could be concerning. There's been the superhero fatigue. There's been, just I think they've been pushing a lot more content than actually producing quality stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to be concerned about. We talked about it a lot here on Watchers about Disney Plus content versus what we used to get in the movies. So it's it's a toss up, really. I think hopefully they'll get their act together. With DC, I couldn't care less, truth be told. I mean, I think James Gunn is talented. I think he has a vision. I think he hopefully will be able to execute it. But personally, I don't care as much about DC, or at least like the DC with I like the darker DC. I like the Joker side of it, which is, I think they're great movies by themselves. They don't need to be incorporated to anything else with DCU.
Yeah, DC's doing that. They have their Elseworlds banner, which Matt Reeves, the Batman series will fall into that, and the Todd Phillips movies, the Joker sequel comes out next October. Folie Adieu with Lady Gaga playing Harley Quinn. I think that'll be a fun one. I'm sure it'll make a lot of money. So yeah, I mean DC, I think they're going to be fine, and the MCU's they're gonna figure it out. They've got Deadpool's the next movie, that's a guaranteed hit. They're gonna lean on the X-Men, probably gonna lean on the X-Men versus the old school Avengers, which is gonna do very well. And who knows what happens in the future? But I think they both have a they both got something to. And also, like if they both fail, you know what's gonna happen down the line? They're gonna do a crossover where it's gonna be DC versus Marvel. Watch, that'll happen. If they're both in the tank, that'll happen, guaranteed. We will see that. So, but anyway, back to the draft. Let's go back to the fourth round. Amber, we're to your fourth pick, number 22 overall. The board is thinning out. What are you thinking here?
I have two things that I want left, and I have to pick between one of them. But I hope by the next time, that next round, I'm crossing my fingers that no one picks it. But for this one, I'm pretty certain I want to do Love and Thunder.
Okay.
My reasoning, I want to do Love and Thunder because seeing how Thor and Asgard and everyone is doing after Infinity War was kind of was interesting for me. And because, where it's coming off of Ragnarok, it's coming off of Infinity War, it's coming off of everything, that it's just a way for us to still know what's going on with Thor after both of those movies. And because, Asgard was destroyed, but Asgard is not a place, it's a people. And seeing Jane back was really cool. Natalie Portman's gorgeous in general, so seeing her as Lady Thor was really, really cool. I loved it. She was gorgeous and stunning. And her story was super, super sad. I mean, with her fighting, passing away and with the cancer, being able to, at the end of the movie, going into Valhalla, because it is a battle. It is a war that you're fighting, and fallen in battle, go to Valhalla. So it was beautiful to me, but also still had that the same energy that Ragnarok, I guess, had. And I just really liked it overall. So I liked that one, and I really, really, really hope none of y'all pick my last pick.
We shall see. Great pick by you. I really enjoyed this movie. I know not everybody on the pod does, but I enjoyed Love and Thunder quite a bit. So
I did too.
good pick by you, George. Not so much. Frank, not so much. But
I like it.
I thought it was fun.
I'll love it enough for all of you.
There we go. Okay, now we're moving on to the 23rd overall pick. The Desmond, your fourth pick overall. You're up. What are you thinking?
Oh, this is a tough one because there is a movie that a lot of people did not like, but it's one of my favorite movies. And this Avenger doesn't have a lot of standalone movies. In fact, this is his only movie.
Okay.
And so I'm just gonna have to pick it, and that is The Incredible Hulk.
Good pick.
Yeah.
Brittany's face just says it all.
No, I actually in my head, because she said it's a standalone. I'm like, okay, well, there's two that I could think of. I was thinking the other standalone, but I think I recall Desmond in our character draft. She's a fan of Hulk.
I am.
She's a huge fan of the Hulk, so that's cool. Yeah. Well, that's cool that she's able to select the movie that she, of the character she really likes. So, yay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that Edward Norton didn't continue the Hulk character, because I thought he did a very good job. And this was a remake of that disaster that we're not going to acknowledge happened in 2003.
We're not going to talk about Eric Bana.
Yeah. But, I really like this movie. And it did okay as far as, reception wise, but, I really enjoyed it. Like it was the first time we saw the Hulk smash from the comic books because that was missing. I remember that was missing from the other movie, and it was like one of the first movies where we saw like in the post credit scenes with Iron Stark. I mean, not Iron Stark. Tony Stark trying to put together the team, the Avengers team. So I just feel like this movie was important for the trajectory of the Avengers movies, and I really like this movie. So I had to pick it.
Yeah. George, isn't the scene of Hulk like kicking the crap out of it's Frank. It's Frank who loves that part. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's my favorite part too.
He just kicks the shit out of him.
He did.
Look at Frank, he's dying.
Yeah, he kicked the shit out of that.
That's that part. That will forever be funny to me.
Yeah,
it is. It is. Yeah.
Now, The Incredible Hulk is the second ever movie in the MCU. And the reason why there's only one Incredible Hulk movie, at least in the title, is because for years Marvel didn't own the movie rights. It's a Universal Studios property, so that's why they found a loophole where they could put Hulk in their movies, but as long as it wasn't called Hulk or Incredible Hulk in the title. So that's why we saw the Hulk in a lot of movies. But and he was in She-Hulk most recently.
Yeah,
obviously. The Mark Ruffalo is going to continue to play the Hulk going forward, to my knowledge. But it's not a highly regarded movie because it's kind of the black sheep of the MCU for a long time because simply it was not under the Disney umbrella of the Marvel Studios, configuration. But the Hulk, one of my all-time favorite characters. So with not too many movies left, pretty good pick by you.
Thank you.
So we're now moving to the final pick of the fourth round, number 24 overall. Frank, you're up. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that this movie has not been picked yet because, I mean, again, I am I'm an action buff guy. I love action. I love fighting sequences. I mean, hand-in-hand combat. He's like top 3. It's probably him, T'Challa, Iron Fist. As far as like fighting combat, like he's top 3 in Marvel Comics. And the movie to me didn't disappoint. I loved it. I think Simu Liu did a great job. And by me saying the character, the actor's name, I think I know what I'm about to say. So I gotta go with Shang-Chi, man, and 10 Rings, man. Like again, if they do this right, he can be like that dude with the Avengers. Like the plan was for him and Chadwick and Captain Marvel, but this is a powerful character without the 10 rings. So with the 10 rings, he's unmatched. So the actions, man, the bus scene, like that's one of my favorite action sequences in the MCU for the last 10 years. Like I love the fighting scene. I love the story behind it. The CGI got a little bit clunky towards the end, but I mean, as far as like an introduction to a character going forward, I thought Marvel did a great job with this character. And seeing seeing Wong and seeing Hulk, Dr. Banner in the post credit, he has big plans, man. And bringing in that Asian population too. I have a lot of Pacific Islander and Asian friends who are so happy with that movie being made. And I mean, it's great. It's very, very groundbreaking. I think Disney's doing a great job of like really adding inclusion with their characters, from Black Panther to Shang-Chi to even Captain Marvel. I mean, I know a lot of white women love her too. So shout out to her too. So, but I love this movie, man. I do.
Jesus.
What? I'm talking about inclusion.
I know.
There are a lot of soccer moms who love Brie Larson. I'm just saying.
Lord Almighty.
I hope they know that the Marvels is in the theaters because she was a big part of that. Yes, soccer moms. Maybe they had soccer practice, just constantly taking kids to the games and stuff, and just cutting up orange slices. So, speaking of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, this is another movie that came out during the pandemic. It dropped September 3rd, 2021. It's a movie I did not see in the theater. I saw it on Disney Plus later on. Runtime 2 hours, 12 minutes. Box office $432 million, which I do believe had it come out in non-pandemic times, preferably before, it would have made a lot more money. Directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, who was supposed to direct the King Dynasty, but he dropped out a few weeks ago. So that's interesting. Apparently, he is working on a Shang-Chi 2. Full disclosure, this is not one of my favorite movies. I love the character. Simu Liu is great as this character. To me, the first half of the movie is exceptional. The second half, it just kind of, to me, it just falls apart. There's so much CGI and creatures that are fake and dragons, and it just, I don't know. It's just not one of my
real,
favorites.
bro.
No,
You
but
said
it's
fake
like-
dragons.
What? What do you mean? Like,
You said fake
what
dragons?
we're the watchers in the basement. We watch a lot of Game of Thrones. That's not a documentary? Okay. Well, I've got a lot to think about and discuss in my life, but thanks, Frank, for pointing that out. Brittany, I know you're a fan of this movie. What are your thoughts on Shang-Chi?
Yeah, it was a really captivating movie for me, and for many of the reasons that Frank has already expressed. I think to see an actor who had to show his abilities of some sort of martial arts and be able to do a lot of the stunts, I think makes the movie 10 times better, personally. Not to take away from, actors who use stunt doubles or anything like that, but I just think it's really cool. God.
Sorry.
Some of them get really hurt, Frank. Okay. Anyway, but to see this movie, and again, not knowing anything about the character, not knowing anything about the storyline, and to just sort of give you a hell of an intro to a character and make you care about him at all the way to to the very end of the movie, and you want more. I think for me, it was a very successful movie, and so I'm very excited to see the character, how he'll progress with future movies, future installments, of course, and him interacting with other characters in the MCU. So yeah, I really do like this movie. I understand, Justin, where you're coming from with CGI. There's a lot of sort of mythical creatures and what have you, but for me, it that's part of the culture, and I think it really is illuminated very well in this movie. So I think across the board, casting was fantastic, the action was fantastic. That bus scene is ridiculous, but yeah, no, this is a great choice. And this is the solo movie that I thought Desmond A was going to pick, but I'm not surprised at all that Frank chose this movie at all, because he has expressed how much he's enjoyed Shang-Chi and The Legend of the Ten Rings.
So that concludes round 4 of the draft. We're moving to the 5th and final round. I have the first pick in the 5th round, and looking at the board, I do. We're in the slim pickings section of the draft, and looking at the board, I think I know who certain people are going to draft. I know for sure a couple people. I feel strongly I know what they're going to go.
Nothing, Justin Boyd.
But for myself, I'm honestly, it's real tough because there's not a lot out there. However, there is a film that's remaining that I'm going to take with my 5th and final pick. I'm going to select one of the few. There's still 2 movies that made over $1 billion on the board, and I'm taking one of them off there. I'm taking Iron Man 3, which was the first Iron Man movie to gross over $1 billion. Is it the best Iron Man movie? No, of course not. But
Hold on.
financially, it's the best.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at my draft, I'm money, so I got to go with the money. So silly. Phase 2, Iron Man 3 Phase 2, directed by Shane Black. It 2 hours, 10 minutes, just flies by. You can watch it over and over with your family and friends. Actually, I don't hate this movie. I like it fine. I think to me, Iron Man 2 and 3 are on the same level. They're not nearly as good as the first one, but that's my pick, Iron Man 3. Any thoughts on Iron Man 3 before we move on to the next pick?
I'm surprised you picked that one.
Really?
Yeah,
What
because
did
you
you think I
you
was-
told me. No, because you told me the other day. You're like, I wonder if that one's gonna get left out.
Misdirection.
I was see, Brittany knows. I'm always playing the game.
Oh
George,
my god.
all the time we're talking in my office, I'm playing the game. So
Justin Baelish, man.
Baelish.
Yeah,
He's
I don't-
Littlefinger.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
no, I'm too much of a hero to be Littlefinger, but I appreciate the
Okay.
I mean, the acting range definitely. I mean, let's face it, like
Well,
the
at least
ability
your
to disguise my
accent has
voice.
been consistent. You know?
Yes, the kind of West Central Texas accent that I was born with.
There you go.
Hashtag born this way. Okay, so let's keep it going.
Okay, Gaga.
Brittany, you're now on the clock. Number 20, your final pick of the draft, number 26 overall. What are your thoughts?
You know, there's slim pickings. I think is fair to say, but I think there's still some contenders here on the boards that's available. I feel I'm a little torn between two, just because it's one of those. I love the character for various reasons, but then there's a different character that I think had a bigger role to play in this sequel movie. And I'm also just kind of like looking at my pickings, and I kind of want to just be a little bit, inclusive to a degree. So I think I have my pick, Justin. I think I'm gonna
Pick is in, Brittany.
pick is
What
in.
are you taking with your final pick?
So I am going to be taking probably a very unpopular choice by many, Thor: The Dark World.
Wow.
I like
So,
Thor: Dark World.
look of shock on George's face right there. And here's the reason, really. While it may not be a very well received movie, there's a lot of, I feel, focus on Loki. And given what we just got with Loki season 2, my goodness, Tom Hiddleston's performance as Loki is top notch throughout the whole thing. The very fact that Thor has to use Loki in order to escape Asgard, to get the ether out of Jane, and you think Loki is going to do a double cross, and then he ends up dying, quote unquote. The music in this movie is fantastic, especially the sequence where Frigga died, and it's so moving. I really enjoy the movie as a whole. I think Stellan Skarsgård being crazy, because of what's happening in the universe with I think it's called the conjunction. It's
Conversion.
Conversion. Thank you. I knew it was something along those lines. Words are tough. But that being said, it's actually it's one of my favorite Thor movies up there. It's just not. I know it just didn't do well compared to others, but it really. I think it's one of those underrated sort of movies. Also, they go to London. I love London, so
It is a cool city.
Yeah, I love that movie. Actually, like it was one of the options on my list. So
I figured as much. Just because I know how much your love for Thor and Loki run deep. So, but I had to snatch it while I could.
Yeah, Thor: Dark World for a long time was regarded as one of the kind of the lowly movies from the MCU until recent years. Movie came out November 8th, 2013. Runtime 1 hour 52 minutes. Box office not too bad, 644 million. It was directed by Alan Taylor, who directed a ton of Game of Thrones episodes. So, I think with Dark World, going back to my first pick, the first pick in this draft, the best movie in this draft, Avengers Endgame, it really did a good job of rehabbing that movie and, Thor reconnecting with his mother. So, but remember that happened in Avengers Endgame, my pick. So just whenever you're voting, remember that part of it. But yeah,
it wouldn't have happened without my pick first.
Fair.
Oh yeah.
Fair point. Okay.
I think all the Phase 2 movies are off.
They are. They're gone. Phase 2 is off the board. So that I would not have predicted Phase 2 be the first one to go.
Good job, everyone. Good job.
Yeah, we did it. that was the goal. So now we're moving on to George's final pick, the 27th overall selection. George, where are you going? What are you thinking?
I don't know. There's not much left right now. We got one movie in Phase 1 left. We got a couple in Phase 3.
Yep.
For me right now, it's either between Phase 5 or Phase 3, if I'm being honest. Okay. And right now, I'm just thinking about like rewatchability factor, like
Okay.
movies that I would enjoy watching again, and I thought like the story was interesting, and I think I have my pick. So
The pick is in. George, with
yeah,
your final pick, the 27th overall, what movie are you selecting?
I'm gonna go with Doctor Strange.
Hey.
Yeah, I love Benedict Cumberbatch. I love the Dormammu thing, like just learning all these things about the Time Stone, and how he becomes a keeper of it. Like, I think it's a good movie that plays a role later on in Infinity War and Endgame and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's mine.
I love the fact that George has openly admitted that he's a Cumberbitch.
Did he?
Oh yeah, sure. I think I've been a Cumberbitch since Sherlock.
Sherlock.
So, yeah.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
We all have. We all have.
Attaboy.
Well, Cumber bitches get stitches. We all know that. So,
Or Cumberbitches win itches.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
you know, Brittany, I'm very surprised you didn't select this movie. I thought for sure you were going to draft this at some point. That's probably one of the shockers of the draft from my perspective.
The only reason why I didn't was because I already had the sequel on the board, or on my selection. So I didn't want to continue with that theme. Again, I wanted to kind of spread and be inclusive and kind of get a representation of different characters. So yeah, that was my reason. Just because the fact that you're combining not only Doctor Strange but the Scarlet Witch as well, two powerful beings. So, but yeah, I mean, that Doctor Strange, the first one, was a big contender for a long time.
Okay. Yep. I know your love for that movie and that character. So, but yeah, good pick by George. George, you had to do something. So, you did it. You made the call. Now we're going to Amber. Amber, your final pick.
Yep.
Very interested to hear your thoughts. We talked about in the last round how you had two movies in mind that you were hoping to
yes
get. Did your other movie make it all the way to the 28th overall pick?
Yeah, it did. I'm snagging Thor. It was honestly, I was going to just in the moment, whichever one was left, take Thor or Dark World. So Brittany decided that for me. I
love
for a lot of the same reasons that she chose Dark World. Now coming off of Loki and seeing how pivotal Loki was and is to the universe and existing in time stream, I wanted to do that one because that's where we get his last line before he does, ascend to the god of time, to being the god of time. Or
the emotion.
Him saying, for all of us, I did this for you. For you. That was what he last said to Odin and Thor before he, let go and just kind of noped his way into the void. But it was just in Loki, it was a beautiful callback to that in that first movie, the first time we see Loki. And also Thor explains to Jane, like, I've always had a huge love of history and science and mythology. So combining the science with the mythology and explaining it, how it's the same thing. The Einstein-Rosen bridge with with Yggdrasil and the 9 realms. And Brittany, you just love when I say that, don't you?
I do. It's like me saying Kukulkan, but
it's Thor does that little drawing demonstration to kind of like explain to Jane, like, hey, this is what you're seeing. This is how we see it. And this is what we call it. This is how we explain it. And I thought that was a good setup for a lot of the other movies, not just the Thor movies, but other things. And like we do see it in Dark World with the convergence with the 9 realms. But also the convergence in the 9 realms itself really reminded me of of Endgame, like with everybody coming like in that final battle, just kind of zapping their ways in with portals. It all came together in a way that I feel just reminded me of that initial explanation from Thor. And so, yeah, at the risk of having 3 Thor movies out of my 5 picks, I'm gonna do the OG Thor.
Well said. You
Thank
are certainly a fan of that character, so I think that's a
No, not at
deserving
all.
pick. Yeah. So not surprised at all. I knew you were going to take a Thor movie or two. Now we move on to Desmond A. Your final pick, the 29th overall. Desmond A, how are you gonna round out your team? What's the final selection?
Well, I had to pick an Ant-Man movie because I did love the Ant-Man movies, but I have to decide which Ant-Man movie I want. Because I did enjoy both of them. I enjoyed Quantumania, even though it didn't do particularly well, and I did enjoy Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Mhm.
But for my last draft pick,
Mhm.
I think I enjoyed Ant-Man and the Wasp a little bit more than Quantumania, even though they were both really good. So I'm going to go with Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Ant-Man and the Wasp. Okay. I enjoyed this movie in the theaters. We've talked
Yeah.
about it before. Yeah, I thought it was a fun movie.
Yeah,
hmm
I did too.
Anybody else have any thoughts about Ant-Man and the Wasp?
It's definitely not one of my favorites when it comes down to that franchise. I
Mhm.
kind of don't feel it carries like into like the bigger storyline, and I feel like a lot of these movies, every single installment has to kind of somehow tie into like the bigger picture,
Mhm.
and it's one of those I feel like it's just filler.
Mhm.
But I think getting Hope to be the Wasp was cool, seeing her
Yeah.
in action, because obviously that's what she's wanted to do, so that was really cool. Also, Cassie, her relationship with her dad was really sweet.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, Frank was all like
Mhm.
oh, I want a daughter now. Like, I want to be
Yeah.
the world's greatest grandma, and it was really sweet.
I liked Hope teaching him how to fight. I liked how at the end, Ant-Man was kind of stuck in the quantum realm while everybody else, blipped, and he was lost in the quantum realm for 5 years, even though it only felt like a minute for him or like an hour. I forget how much time, but
Yeah, I
he
think he
didn't
said
blip.
like 5
Yeah,
hours.
yeah, he didn't really blip. He was just lost in the quantum realm. So it
Right.
did for me propel the story forward as far as everything that happened in Endgame. So
Also, Michelle Pfeiffer.
oh yeah,
Damn.
she was good too.
Yeah, she's great. She's great
Yeah.
in the movie.
Yep, I concur.
Mhm.
So now we're moving on to the final pick of the draft. Frank, you're on the board or you're on the clock. What are you thinking? There's not a ton out there, but
Mhm.
in fact, there's 4 movies to be exact to pick from.
Yeah,
4.
I mean, for me, it's pretty easy. This
Okay.
movie is a nod to my childhood. It's a nod to what's to come for the MCU, good or bad, if it's done right. Um, yeah, it might be a shock to you guys, but my pick is the Marvels post credit scene. That's my that that 1 minute 27 clip. For me, it's like I'm sold. Like I'm really excited about the X-Men. I'm excited about Monica Rambeau in this realm. How is Monica Rambeau going to be stuck in this realm for good? Like I don't. I have so many questions. I didn't watch the movie The Marvels, but I did. I did YouTube the clip, and that 1 minute 27 clip made not watching the Marvels so worth it for me. So for me going forward with the X-Men and like the big blue fur balls there, Hank McCoy, like Kelsey Grammer. Like this is 20 years in the making. The last time we saw him was like 2004, and like the revamped CGI of the Beast. I'm not super like how it looks and like the mention of Charles Xavier. Like it's so much. And Maria Rambo getting up, taking off the robe and seeing the suits, the Marvel suit. Like it's like Photon is a heralded character in the comic books. Growing up through the 70s and 80s, and there was a lot of racial tension with that character as far as like trying to get her to not even get her own film, but to just have a feature character in a cartoon. Like we didn't get that for years, and to see that character now in what 2 movies and a TV show, goes a long way. So for me, my last pick is the post credit scene of the Marvels. That's my last pick.
So Justin, you have to make sure you explicitly say
No,
in the poll.
you know what, Frank? You're a genius because, and we didn't plan this at all. But this is so apropos for the MCU because the MCU is known for mid credits and post credits, and you drafted a mid credit scene as your pick. Now, granted, you did draft the best part of that movie because I have actually seen that movie. I saw it opening day, and
Same.
George, you're talking earlier, you're saying about Iron Man 3 maybe not being picked. I would not have picked this movie. To me, out of 33, this is number
I didn't
30.
pick the movie. Let's be clear. I did not pick the movie.
No,
I
but the
picked the
mid credit
post-credit scene. Okay.
the mid credit goes with the movie. So you gotta take the
In
good with the
theory,
bad.
yes, but
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. But
Okay. But no, it's great pick by you to incorporate
Thank you.
a mid credit or post credit. So I
my Mr.
congratulate you on
Irrelevant.
that.
Yeah, my Mr. Irrelevant pick is like a first round pick for me. It's like
Yeah. I don't think this
steal.
one's Brock Purdy. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
The San Francisco 49ers quarterback. No, he's actually really good. Anyway, wow, that's stunning development there. So that does it for all the picks. Let's go through the teams now, just so everyone knows. Hopefully, y'all all know who you picked, but I can recap them, and then I want everyone to kind of like make your pitch on why people should vote for you because that's our motto here, right? We draft, you decide. So we're gonna have everyone hopefully vote for whoever you think won the draft. And I don't know if George is he still with us or
I think it looks like he may have
freeze?
frozen.
Yeah, I think he
So
froze. I'll text him.
hopefully we'll get him back in a little bit.
So Brittany, I'm gonna go to you first. Let's talk about your team.
Yeah. So my team, the winning team, y'all. When we're talking MCU movies, we're talking Captain America's Civil War, arguably another Avengers movie. I mean, you literally have not just like brief cameos, like you actually have, cameos of action and things that should matter to you in your life. You're getting another Avengers movie without it being an Avengers movie. And you see that rifts can be had within close-knit groups, obviously. And it's a matter of doing what's right based on, someone's perspective. It's a struggle that I think everyone can relate to. So Captain America, Civil War, basically an Avengers movie. Iron Man, y'all. Iron Man is the first movie to kick off the MCU. Without it, we'd have nothing. We wouldn't be doing this draft if it wasn't for this movie. Come on, y'all. This is a no-brainer at all. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Listen, might not be everyone's top pick, but you're combining forces, two powerful forces into one movie. And you've got one who's trying to do good, Doctor Strange, and then you have Wanda who thinks she's trying to do good, but is really causing more harm than any good. But she gives a hell of a performance, y'all. Like this is acting, just a masterclass, in my opinion. Lizzie Olsen, I love you for being who you are and taking on this role. You've done some amazing work as Wanda Maximoff, aka the Scarlet Witch. Ant-Man, listen, I gotta stick it with the little guys, right? Like I'm under 5 foot, so it kind of seems appropriate for me to select Ant-Man, the little guy. It's a fun movie. I really enjoy Michael Pena as Luis in this movie. He adds that great comedic relief. Paul Rudd, I think, is fantastic as Scott Lang as Ant-Man. He's aging like fine wine, y'all. Like, do I need to say more? And lastly, with Thor: The Dark World, while it may not be the best movie in the Thor series, we get a lot of Loki. And thinking again on what we just got from Loki season 2, how that ended. If y'all haven't checked that out, we've got pod reviews on Loki season 2. Go check that out and understand why I had to choose a movie that really had a lot of Loki in it and just his pain. Like there was pain he experienced in this movie, y'all. You have to feel something for this mercurial villain, if you will. So yeah, those are my choices. Do the right thing, y'all. Vote for Team Brittany.
Very good sales pitch there, Brittany. I'm proud of you. Way to go.
That's what I do.
So let's go to Amber. Amber, why should people vote for your draft class in this all important vote?
I feel like I try my best to get a little bit of everything, even though 3 out of my choices are Thor. I see how it looks, guys, but stay with me. So we got Ragnarok, which has that I guess that newer vibe that Guardians has. It definitely was different than the previous other Thor movies. It was just a big change and big difference from the other Thor movies. But I really liked it. I feel like it kind of made people actually have an interest in Thor again, because I kind of felt like in the Avengers lineup, not many people were really caring about him, aside from being the villain of the first Avengers brother. Like it was just kind of a tossed away, but this really helped kick him back into gear, and I really loved it. My second choice was Guardians of the Galaxy, and I mean, you guys say more. It was the first one. It was introducing the Power Stone, and so we get an Infinity Stone introduced. We get a bunch of new characters and this entire stream that for the other Guardians of the Galaxy movies, which ties in so well into Infinity War and Endgame. It was, it's starting there. That's what I like. Is I like the origins, I like the beginnings of things, and I like the potential that they bring. And the next one I got was Spider-Man: Homecoming, which again, it's bringing Spider-Man back to the to MCU and introducing him new and improved, but with that, like in a refreshing way, but in a familiar way that we loved it. I loved it. I think Tom Holland is really great, and it also introduces that dynamic with Tony Stark, which was really interesting and leading into all, like, it's just, I really loved it. And my fourth one was Love and Thunder, Thor: Love and Thunder, and that I may have picked it just for the sentimental reasons, but hey, seeing New Asgard, seeing how Thor is growing and trying to heal, and everyone is responding and reacting after Ragnarok and the Infinity War, definitely a stark difference, because we're seeing how other cultures, not just Earth, are responding to this. And we also had that beautiful scene and story with Jane and Thor finding his new place in the galaxy. And last but not least, I wrapped it up with the first Thor movie, and very much for the same reasons that Brittany did, because if you've seen Thor, again, I love the origins. I love the beginning of things. And I think having a story that kicks it off in such a good way that you can go back on it years later, or you're seeing things like Loki just this year where we're like, oh, hey, do you remember in that movie this happened? I love that in a movie where you can just, you remember it. You remember scenes, you remember discussions, you remember things that happened in that movie. I think that's important to me. So that's why I say me.
Yeah, no, good job. Good pitch. The fact that you got 3 out of 4 Thors, that's pretty impressive. Like,
thanks.
Good job. Good job.
If you like Thor, vote for me.
Clearly a God of Thunder fan. So good work by you. It's always great to have you on the pod, but yeah, good job. Desmond A, let's go to you. Now, you won our draft last year, our character draft. You're the defending champion of our.
I am the defending champion. Yes,
you're the defending champion. So why should people vote for you to make it back to back?
Well, people should vote for me because I chose movies that were across the board fan favorites. If you look at Black Panther 1 and Black Panther 2, they're the only Marvel movies that were nominated for Academy Awards. Black Panther was nominated for Best Picture. Wakanda Forever, Angela Bassett got a nomination. So that speaks highly of the caliber of acting and just how successful these movies were, according to the Academy. And my movies have a lot of star power, including not only Angela Bassett, but Edward Norton was in The Incredible Hulk. He's a Golden Globe winner, also been nominated for Academy Award, not for this movie, but he's an incredible actor. Ant-Man and the Wasp has Paul Rudd, who doesn't age. He looks the same since he played in the Clueless movie back in the 90s. And also have Michael Douglas, who has I think 5 or 6 Oscars and a whole bunch of Golden Globes. So there's a lot of star power in my movies. And not to mention my movies, 2 of them gross over $1 billion. And Wakanda Forever almost grossed $1 billion. So, like I said, this movie that just did very, very well in the box office. Movies that had high-powered actors and incredible acting, and movies that most people enjoyed. The lowest Rotten Tomatoes score was 67%, which is higher than some of the other movies that had 46% Rotten Tomatoes. So, my movies did very well. So, vote for me.
So, Desmond Hayes bringing the stats. She has award-winning movies, and she has highly rated movies. So so good job. I kind of like your chances of maybe going back to back. So we'll see how it goes. Frank, let's go to you. Talk about your draft class. Why should people vote for Frank?
I'm not even going to front. I'm not going to be as eloquently spoken as the 4 of you guys. Keep it very short and simple. Avengers, Prometheus 1. It's the first one. It's the startup of everything as far as like the Avengers storyline kicking off. It debuts in a post-credit scene, one of the top villains of superhero history. So not gonna lie about that. And then Captain America 2 is my second pick. Winter Soldier, one of my favorite mercenaries, and outside Deadpool, on this side of the sun. I mean, the fighting scenes in that movie, the Easter eggs in that movie, from Moon Knight to, a lot of the future, um, oh my God, I forgot, I can't remember the name of the Agent Squad, Hydra, and Shield, like the beginning, ending of that, as well. The pending death of one of our favorite spy. It's a great movie, and it for a solo movie, it boasted a lot of money. I think almost close to $1 billion, 900 million, something like that. And then for my third movie, um, got to go with Black Widow. It came out during a tough time during the pandemic. I think it made like 200 million. I mean, that's for a movie that came out on Disney Plus on streaming services. Did a great job. It debuted a future Black Widow character. That Black Widow moniker is going to live on with Miss Belova. Taskmaster is an underrated villain in that film. And just the zingers and the one-liners. You finally find out what happens in Budapest. And then Shang-Chi, Simu, man, he did it again. I mean, he set it off with the martial arts and that. I was very pleased with the martial arts in there, the fighting scenes, the story. I'm very big on like father son dynamic and those origin stories of how it makes a man, no matter the ethnicity, no matter the race of a man. It really plays a part of your identity. So seeing that, and it was really good. And last but not least, man, I mean, I think I have the best. It's the post credit scene of what could kick off a historical next 10 years of the end of the It team, the X-Men. This is people talk about the Avengers in the MCU. This was the original It team in Marvel for like the first 50 years of Marvel Comics. And to get them in this post credit scene, to get a hint of what could be in this post credit scene, Monica Rambeau, Maria Rambeau, just the cultural groundbreaking moves of that character of Monica Rambeau, and what she can be, and just the history of that character, and like her finally getting her just due. So those are my top 5.
Frank, I appreciate the your salesmanship with the Marvels and your just creativity in
Marvel's
the kind of
post credit scene.
Marvels post credit scene.
Thank you.
The mental gymnastics you've had to go through to sell that movie. You should be working for Marvel, because that movie's had a tough time. It's made 197 million, and apparently its box office run has ended less than a month after it came out. So it's the
Yikes.
lowest grossing film in the MCU. But the mid-credit scene is exciting. I'll give you that. So good job on that pick. So Brittany, George is not on the screen with us right now. So if you wouldn't mind, would you tell us why people should vote for George?
Well, I'm still gonna say to vote for me regardless, but
Okay.
for George's sake, he's having
Make
some
the
technical.
case. Yeah.
He's having some technical difficulties. Listen, see, he has some strong picks. He really honestly does have some strong picks. He took 2 Avengers movies, y'all. He took 2. He took Avengers Infinity War, which set up the tone for Endgame. I mean, it's a strong pick. It's a strong start off pick because this is where shit gets real, y'all. Like, it's incredible. In Avengers Age of Ultron, James Spader as the villain is awesome. You know, I always see him as, you know, Robert California from The Office, right? But now that we have him as the villain, it's really cool. This is the introduction of the Maximoff twins. Sadly, we lose one, but you know, we get their introduction, and Wanda is a force to be reckoned with, right? It's one of my favorites. I was a little peeved that he took that from me, but that's fine. Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2 is another great movie that has some great story. It also has Mickey Rourke as the villain. I want my bird. You know, that's very iconic, right?
Impressions
But
are so good. Your MCU impressions are very good. Yeah.
oh, thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, you know, Iron Man 2, you think you're going to lose Tony, and he, you know, you're not going to lose Tony. You're never going to lose Tony ever, right? Until Endgame. Anyway, that being said, moving on to his next choice was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Now, for me personally, that's a hard sell, personally. However, you do have Kurt Russell who comes in as Ego, who is Peter Quill's father. They get to bond. They get to learn more about each other. We learn more about Celestials as a whole, and Dave Bautista is just Dave Bautista. Like, what more needs to really be said about him? But this is George's pick after all. It's hard for me to sell it to everyone. Don't let that deter your choice about choosing your favorite team here. And then finally, George's last pick is Doctor Strange. Now, this one I can sell because, like me, George is a Cumberbitch. He's obviously, you know, made that known. I'm over here wearing a Doctor Strange shirt, but Benedict's performance as Doctor Strange, learning about the Time Stone, learning about, you know, the mystic arts and such, and having that be given to us, you know, with Dormammu, as George mentioned earlier, also played by Benedict Cumberbatch. So basically, he's just talking to himself the entire time, which is hilarious to me. All that setup, I think, is really fantastic. We also have Mads Mikkelsen, who plays the villain in this movie, another favorite actor of mine personally. And yeah, so to conclude George's picks, he's got 2 Avengers movies, y'all. Iron Man 2, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and Doctor Strange. So, George, I hope I did you justice.
Yeah,
Wish
no,
you were back here.
You did a good job, Brittany. That good way of selling his draft class. Amber, you have another point. Let's go back to you. What do you want to say?
I'm sorry. I completely forgot about it, but I had it was the first thing I wanted to mention, and then it completely escaped my notice while I was going on my sales pitch. But because it's my last choice. Thor was is my 5th one. Without Thor, the first Avengers wouldn't have happened.
Good point. Good point.
That it wouldn't have happened because Loki went there, and that it introduced the Chitauri. Therefore, it introduces 2 different Infinity Stones: the Mind Stone and the Space Stone. And it also because that, and those are points for the first Avenger movie. I get it, but hey, and it introduced Thanos. None of that would have happened if at the end of Thor didn't happen. Because that's my last little point. So
very good point. Very good point.
Thank you.
On a sidebar, Justin.
Yeah.
You know, I have a proposal for our next draft for next year.
Okay.
And it's all thanks to Frank and his creativity.
It's going to be mid-credits, post-credits.
Mid-credits and post-credits draft.
Oh gosh,
that'd be hard.
That's the tough one. We have a year to work on.
We have a year to work on it.
We have time to put that
Yeah.
together. That's a good idea. I like that. That's fun.
Yeah. I mean, and if Deadpool's coming into the mix,
God, there's so
oh
there's
my
so,
God.
so many of them. That's gonna be a lot of work for me to put together, but I can do it.
You can do it. You got a year. You got a year.
Yeah, I got a year. I'll get to
I
work on
believe
it.
in you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So before I make my pitch, I just want to. I was fortunate enough to get the number one overall pick. I just want to ask y'all before I wrap this up, if you had received the first pick, what movie would you have taken? And Brittany, I'm gonna start with you.
Endgame.
Endgame, Amber.
I would have done Endgame
Okay.
for sure. And there was one other one that I had. What was it? The original Avengers.
Okay. Desmond A.
Definitely Endgame. It was just
Endgame.
iconic. You know, the whole theater erupted when all the portals opened, and first King T'Challa came out, and all the other people came out. It was just like, it was crazy. It was pandemonium in the audience.
Oh yeah, no, there's so many memories to that movie. Yeah.
It was when Captain America got Mjolnir, and it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
No,
when
there's-
Captain America picked up the hammer, like Thor's hammer, it was just
Yeah.
everything. It was just everyone bananas.
yeah. Justin, you remember when we saw it the second time on IMAX, and the
Yeah.
dude's sitting next to us when that scene happened? He's like, "Fuck yeah!" So great.
Yeah, it was like kind of being at a sporting event, which is,
Mhm.
that doesn't happen at movies really
Yeah.
hardly ever. So
Yeah.
no, Endgame, so many great moments. We could do like a top 10 moments from that movie easily.
Yeah,
But
Oh God, without a
easily,
doubt.
I just want to say, as I make my pitch, I appreciate y'all's endorsement of my class, because I did have the number one pick and I took Avengers Endgame, and so I appreciate y'all supporting me and saying I won.
Do we support you? Are you sure?
I
about
would have
that?
had it.
I know. I'm just kidding. I'm being silly. I'm trying to be entertaining. But no, I mean, Avengers Endgame, the highest grossing MCU film, the second highest grossing film ever. It is legitimately like probably my favorite movie. If it's on TV, wherever, no matter like wherever it's in, I'll sit down and watch the rest of it. I really love this movie. I had the first pick. It was the obvious first pick. So I did what I was supposed to do. My second pick was Spider-Man No Way Home, which is a top 3 MCU movie for me. So for me to get my 2 of my top 3 in my first 2 picks, I really think that that makes my class, especially strong. Spider-Man No Way Home, much like an Endgame, I'll never forget where I was whenever I saw Andrew Garfield walk on the screen right after Aunt May had died. Like after you go like
Yeah.
the roller coaster of emotions, seeing her death, which was very sad, and to lose Marissa Tomei, and then the way she played that, and then
Hot Aunt May.
yeah, and then to have Andrew Garfield walk on the screen, you're like, oh, they actually did it, because there are rumors forever that they're gonna have the other Spider-Man, but until you saw the movie, you didn't know for sure, especially with somebody like me who I have to see the movies like the first day they come out, or even before. Somehow, if I can get a ticket, I'm gonna go see the movie. So to see that happen, and then later on to see Tobey Maguire show up, just what a special movie. Also, very successful movie, almost $2 billion at the box office. My third film is, like I said, probably my favorite origin film of the MCU. It's my guy, Captain America. See the logo there.
Still makes me mad.
Captain America, the First Avenger. Such a great film. So many great moments. I could do this all day. This is all I think about all day is the MCU. So that was a perfect pick in that
You're
regard.
welcome, by the way.
Right. My fourth pick was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Yeah, I wasn't afraid to take a Phase 5 film. Of course, I took the best one, hands down. It very emotional film we talked about during the draft. Definitely, if you haven't seen that movie, check it out. But it is sad. Just a heads up. And then my final pick, I had to draft something. I went with Iron Man. Iron Man 3. It's not my favorite movie, but it did make $1 billion, and it is one of my favorite characters. And it's his final solo film. So I feel good about my class.
If you wanted to go for money, you should have gone with Captain Marvel.
Iron Man actually made more. I think Iron Man 3 made more than Captain Marvel.
Did it?
Yeah, I think it did.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it did. Yeah, I can look that up right now. Iron Man 3 made $2 billion. Captain Marvel made
1.131.
okay.
Oh, Desmond, they did her
Slightly.
homework.
Slightly.
At a girl. Yes.
Yeah, 1.1 billion. So I it did make more than Captain Marvel slightly. So
Opening weekend though? Opening week?
no,
okay.
just overall, total.
Oh, just overall. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure about opening weekend. I'm sure Captain Marvel probably did better
Yeah,
opening
probably
weekend.
did.
But yeah.
I mean, if you really wanted to be brave, you would have either picked Captain Marvel or Eternals.
Yeah. That's something else I want to talk about before we get out of here. There are 3 films that did not get selected, and let's talk about those very quickly. The first movie, of course, Captain Marvel, which did very well financially, has been kind of critically panned. The second movie that was not selected, Eternals, which I probably like it more than most people do. And then the
I
final
like
movie,
Turtles, yeah.
go for it.
Mm-mm.
No,
How I feel about the Eternals is how I feel about the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah, those are some strong feelings.
okay.
Extremely. I could have done without.
Yeah. I didn't think it was as terrible as people made it out to be, but
Man,
I didn't
it was
agree with it.
tough to
Yeah.
like get into it, to care about it. Also, lots
Yeah.
of characters to try to keep up with.
yeah.
Yeah, that was a tough watch for me. My only reason for watching solely was to see Robb Stark and Jon Snow on the screen together.
Yep.
That was it.
Reunited.
Although
Once
I did actually like the post credit for that movie, and we need to do a draft for mid and post credits. I'm serious. I'm like dead ass serious about this.
Okay, let's finish this one first.
Fine.
This is a
I
lot of
didn't
work
like
to do.
Eternals.
Didn't like Eternals. Okay.
No, I tried. I made a valiant effort because I don't know. It's just that right amount of spacey and hero-esque that I normally like. But I don't know. I'm a completionist where I have to finish something once I start it, and I was struggling to finish it because I didn't see it in theaters. I watched it at home.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure I had to like start and stop it maybe 8 times just because I'm like, oh, well, I have to go do my laundry and I'm more entertained doing that.
I'm pretty
It
sure
wasn't terrible.
I'm pretty sure I fell asleep. I'm pretty sure I fell asleep on the recliner.
Yeah, like it really wasn't terrible. I didn't vibe with it.
Nope.
I tried. Valiant effort.
Nope.
So the final film that we did not select was Ant-Man and the Lost Quantumania. It came out early this year. It's the first movie of Phase 5. It, started the year off rough for the MCU. Of course, the Marvels was way rougher financially because this movie did make $460-something million. However, it had a huge budget and it obviously was panned by critics. Brittany, just let's go around the room. What did y'all think about Quantumania?
I mean, I like Quantumania fine, just like the rest of the Ant-Man movies. Probably, I mean, a little bit more than the second one. But what really was setting it for me was having Jonathan Majors as Kang. Like that man is a master class of actor right there. And when he said something that was supposed to make you feel some type of way, he was successful in everything that he said because you felt it in your soul and you knew he meant it. Just his performance opposite of Michelle Pfeiffer. I mean, Michelle, who's a veteran actor for so many projects that she's been a part of, and for God's sake, she's Catwoman. So like, to see them act together and for him to kind of instill the fear of Kang in you, I was so looking forward to seeing his future in the MCU. I mean, we obviously did get him again in Loki season 2 in a way, but obviously with what's going on with Jonathan Majors' personal life and things playing out in the media, it's very uncertain what his future may look like with the MCU. And I understand this is a business. The studios are going to do what they need to do in order to move forward. It sounds like they're moving away from Kang and maybe pivoting to a different villain. So, I understand that. I don't necessarily agree with it because let's not pull a Warner Brothers like they did with Johnny Depp. I've said that time and time again. However, that being said, this is what's happening. I would still absolutely love to see Jonathan Majors continue in the MCU. This was a great introduction to that, but sadly, I think it's over.
Yeah, I agree with everything Brittany said. Like, I enjoyed it. Majors was amazing. I think he's, Yale trained or something like that. You could definitely see the acting chops that he has. He did an incredible job. And, I enjoyed Bill Murray was in it too. Like he had like some type of comedic relief.
So random.
Yeah, it was random, but I enjoyed it. Like, and then the daughter Cassie's grown up now, and I did enjoy that dynamic of the movie. So yeah, I was entertained. I did enjoy that movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amber, what'd you think about Quantumania?
All the same, they stole my words. It was good. It just wasn't. Yeah, it's just not what it's not up there for me. But it was good, and I do. Being a fan of Loki, as Justin and Brittany know, and I'm sure a lot of people know at this point. Seeing Kang or introducing Kang was it was good, and he has a phenomenal performance. So it was a good introduction to lead up to Loki and Kang Wars, but again, it's a little bit bummed out that we're not probably going to get that. And along the same lines, like same thing with Warner Brothers and Johnny Depp. Changing the casting for within 3 movies to 3 different characters to play one character. It was rough, and it really severely damaged the entire procession of that show. So I hope for certain that's not what they're going to do. But hey, we don't make those decisions.
Yeah.
No, we don't. But we know the people out there who are watching and listening to this, you have a big decision to make, and that's who to vote for. And Brittany, I want to throw it to you. How can people let us know who they're going to vote for, which draft class they're going to select?
Hey, don't worry, y'all. We've got you covered. For those who may have missed out on this live stream of us drafting our MCU movies, you can certainly watch the replay here on YouTube. You can also check us out on our audio podcast that's available to you on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. As Justin mentioned at the top of this show, we will be posting our picks here in the chat as he's doing right now as I'm speaking. So we've got Justin's picks here. We've got mine. We've got George, Amber, and then we'll also have Desmond and Frank's. That way it lives here in the live chat, but we will want you, the audience, to choose who wins. So we're going to be posting that. It's a poll here on. We're going to post the poll link here in the description box. It'll be posted for about a month or so, Justin. We're going to come back in January to reveal the winner.
We will.
And Desmond is the reigning champ, y'all. So if you like her choices, be sure to choose for her. Whoever you like, vote, vote, vote. It's in your hands, y'all. So also, if you haven't already done so, follow us here on YouTube, subscribe, hit that like button here on this video. Really helps out our channel a lot. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. That way, the next time we're going to go live. Look at Desmond repping the Watchers in the Basement.
Merch.
I love it. I love it. Merch. We want to get merch again, y'all. Help us. But also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, as well as Threads, all at Watchers Basement. You can use the same hashtag, Watchers Basement, to help grow our audience. Let other people know that we have done this MCU movie draft. Redirect them to this podcast here. We'd really appreciate it. Use that hashtag, Watchers Basement. And once again, you can also listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Be sure to follow us and give us a 5-star rating.
Thank you, Brittany. I appreciate it. Yes, please, if you're watching or listening to this, tell everybody you know. Tell your mom to vote. Tell your dog to vote. Like, help your dog vote. Or maybe your dog will help you vote. I don't care. Just, we want votes. Let us know which person drafted the best class of movies. This has been a lot of fun. Does anybody have any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Vote for me or be spaghettified.
Vote for me, please.
Dang it. I beg of you, vote for me.
No, I think we all did a really good job drafting our top movies. So I think everyone's a winner, but there can only be one.
And I think our sales pitches were good. I liked everybody's sales pitch.
For sure.
Like, if I wasn't involved in this, I would have a tough time.
Oh, yes.
There
And
you
you
go.
know from experience, because last year you weren't a part of this draft. You were deciding. So now that you're on the other side of it,
Yep.
yeah, it's tough, isn't it? It's really tough.
It is.
Well, Amber, I'm glad that you joined us for it this year, but I hope I can still count on your vote. Wow.
Oh
Okay.
Lord.
Our friendship is like on shaky ground right now.
Yeah.
But,
Seriously. Yeah.
No,
Raheem in
Hey,
the
you know I
in the-
love you.
yeah, I know. I appreciate it.
Raheem in the
Same-
chat
same to you.
wants to know what will the winner get, and Justin said it eloquently.
Bragging rights.
rights.
That's all that matters.
That's
Bragging
it.
We
That's
don't
it.
have anything else to offer. Quite frankly.
We don't have
invisible
merch.
crown.
Right.
Invisible crown.
Oh, can it be
know,
Loki's?
We do have an infinity gauntlet, a rubber infinity gauntlet.
Oh my
that
god, we do.
I think I have.
I've snapped it.
You
I
have
know
some-
where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's in
Yeah.
Frank's office. So
Yeah. So anyway, thanks for everyone who's watching this or listening to this. We appreciate it. So for Brittany, for Frank, for George, for Amber, and for Desmond A, the defending champion, I'm Justin saying thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We will see you next time. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Hi, everybody.
remember, I did this for you, for all of us.